Hey everyone, what's up? Today I'm bringing you another storytime video. I don't know how well this storytime is going to turn out because I just suck at telling stories and I feel like this is going to be all over the place. I want to try my best to keep everything in order, or at least if it's not in order, edit it so it makes sense. I haven't seen a lot of story times about fuckboys and dating fuckboys and hooking up with fuckboys and talking to fuckboys and all that. So I was watching them and I'm like listening to these stories. I'm like, wait, I have a fuckboy story. This one is about how I fell in love with a fuckboy. Fell in love how I loved a fuckboy. Let's get into the story. So I was on Tinder one day and I don't really remember my initial feelings towards him. I just thought that he was cute. I think I liked him and right away it came up as a match, but he initiated conversation. Right away he was very honest. He just told me about his situation and I was totally down for it. I was totally fine with it. Obviously I'm not going to get too into it because it's not my place to say like what his situation is. I was messaging him and like I said, he was very honest. I was okay with it because he was honest about himself with me, but I didn't really think too much about it. I was just like whatever about it. I'm like, he's cute, like he seems really nice, he's on track, so it's okay. So we were talking for like a month, and this should have been the red flag right there. We were talking for like a month and it's not like we never made plans within that month. This should have been the major red flag, like give up right now. So anyway, one day we were talking and it was like 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night and he doesn't drive. He wanted to hang out but he wanted me to pick him up and I was not about that. I'm all for driving people around if they give me money or if like they're my boyfriend or something like that. I'm all for that. But this would have been our first date meeting. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it would have been the first time hanging out. I'm not having a stranger like that in my car. So we were just talking. We didn't make definite plans. And then like he just stopped messaging me. And then he texted me the next day and was like, oh, sorry, I went out with my friends. I'm like, okay, like whatever. He claims his friends like picked him up and everything. I'm like, okay, that's fine, like whatever, like that's cool. Like you could have been like upfront with me and told me that you didn't want to hang out because you didn't want to take the bus or something like that. And then he tells me that he went to the bowling alley with his friends. I'm like, okay, like, you know I live near the bowling alley, kind of, so you could have invited me at that point because you already had a ride. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, whatever. And so that was a red flag. That was like the major red flag. There were other times in this month where we tried to hang out and he would claim that he fell asleep. I don't know about you guys, but for me, if I know that I have a date that night or of like any potential of hanging out with somebody that I'm actually interested in, I'm not gonna put myself in a position to fall asleep. So I think it happened like at least once, but it might have been like 2 or even 3 times where he told me that he fell asleep. Like say we were supposed to go out at like 8 o'clock. He'll wait until like 11, 12 o'clock at night to text me and be like, oh sorry, I fell asleep. Really? Anyway, so time goes on, we finally meet. I think we might have went to the mall and then the bowling alley or something like that and played pool. But anyway, I really liked this guy. We didn't hang out a lot. We talked every day, but we only hung out once a week, so it wasn't like we were hanging out every day. But I believe the second or third date, he like brings this bag and then I think he left it in my car. And then we go back to my car and he's like, oh, I have something for you. He pulls out this big bouquet of roses. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, I was actually honestly kind of weirded out by it because it was like our second date. I'm like, kind of nice, maybe kind of creeperish. And he also wrote me a poem or a song. But then I think we went to Applebee's after that and he told me that he didn't have money to pay because he bought me those flowers. I mean, I had to pay for it because he claims he didn't have money. He wasn't paid, but I was kind of like guilted into paying. We ate at Applebee's like 2 or 3 times, and I paid every single time. He would never pay for me, and he has a job, so I don't know why he never had money. In the beginning, we would always like hang out, like out places, but then like once I started going to his house, we would only hang out at his house. I mean, sure, like we would walk to Wawa, but that's it. So that was another red flag. I've learned all these like red flags from videos. So like if he doesn't pay, if he doesn't take you out, if he does this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, okay, wow, I really had a fuckboy on my situation. I'm not gonna go into 100% detail, but I kind of have to tell you this. He lived in a recovery house, and he would always complain about the other guys that like would move in there. He's like, oh well, these guys don't actually want it, their mommies and daddies send them here, and their mom and dad pays for everything, and their mom and dad brings them, because one time I was there and this he was fairly new. His mom and dad like brought him clothes and food. So he was like, yeah, I don't like that kid, and I don't like this kid and this kid because they're fuckboys, and their parents still do everything for them. They don't do anything for themselves, and they're just here because their parents want them to be here. So it's just ironic how he complained about all these other fuckboys, but yet he's the fuckboy. So while we were talking and like hanging out and stuff, he would always be like, oh, I want you to be my girlfriend, I want to be your boyfriend, like we should be in a relationship. And I'm like, no, because I just stopped talking to a guy that I was kind of talking to. I just stopped talking to him. I'm like, I don't really want a relationship, but I also don't want to just like be a friends with benefit thing. So then also he never officially like asked me to be his girlfriend. He just said that he wanted to be my boyfriend. And then one day, it just happened. I remember, because my sister was at his house, and because my sister like hung out with his one friend in the house, so I believe we went to the casino that night, and then we came back, and then those two were chilling. Actually, all 3 of them were chilling downstairs. I went upstairs, and I had to go to the bathroom. Then I text him, and I'm like, can you come upstairs? And then he's like, what? He thought something was wrong. And then I'm like, oh, do you want to be my boyfriend? He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. And then he was like, yeah. So then of course we kissed, and that was all fine, and we were like all happy about it. And then like days went by, and like he didn't put it on Facebook. He didn't say anything on Facebook. And I know like that's so stupid, that's so trivial, but yeah, so one day we were just hanging out, and I just put it on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, check Facebook and all that. And he like checked it. He's like, why? I mean, he accepted it, but he's like, why? I'm like, why not? Like, is there an issue? Because usually, like, if you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't have an issue putting it on Facebook if they're the only one you're seeing. So yeah, he wasn't too happy with it. And then a couple days went by. I was back at his house, and his friend was chilling on the couch, and we walk in. He's like, oh, Jack, I heard some congratulations are in order. He's like, yeah. He's like, congratulations. After his friend made that comment, he was like, that's why I don't want to put it on Facebook. I don't want everybody knowing and being all up in my business, which I understand, and I do respect that. If you have like but it's not like he has a large following, or he has nosy family members or friends or something. Like, I could see like if you're famous on the internet or something like that, like not wanting to put all your business out there and everything. That's all fine and dandy, but that's not him. A couple days later, I'll just tell you, we were probably boyfriend, girlfriend for like 2 or 3, not 3 weeks, just like about 1.5, 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, we were together. And I remember this day so clearly. We were just chilling, and then this girl is like blowing up his phone. I don't remember what she was saying or anything, but I just remember multiple texts from her, and I'm like, oh, who's this? And of course he was like, oh, nobody. So of course I got mad. I'm like, if it's nobody, then why would she be blowing up your phone? I was like so mad. I liked him so much. I got a little out of control. I threw his phone. I got so mad, and I was driving home. If his house is here, the traffic light is here. I was at that traffic light, like literally this far away. He's texting me. He's like, she's nobody. You're the only one I want to be with. I'm like, well, you should have thought about that earlier. He's like, I don't care about her. I just want to be with you. And literally the next day we were texting, and he told me that he wanted to break up with me. I like texted him for probably about a week later, every day asking him, asking him if he's sure he wants to break up, like I still want him, if he wants to be with me, and he just kept saying no, he doesn't want to be with me. Even though it killed me so bad, I just stopped texting him. I wasn't even in love. I was just like obsessed with this kid. I'm like, I want to be with him. But like at the same time, I knew that we weren't going to be together like forever. I just didn't feel it. I couldn't see it happening. I like never pictured our future together, which is kind of crazy to say even though you've only been talking to somebody for like 2 months, but like that's how I am like with my boyfriend now. I mean, we've been together almost 6 months, but like I picture my future with him. Looking back, it's just crazy because I realize how much of a fuckboy, I don't like saying fuckboy, but it's just how much of a waste of time he was. I do still care about him as a person, but sometimes you just can't keep caring about somebody because it doesn't matter. Like if somebody wants you to care about them, then that's fine, but if you're trying to care about somebody and they clearly just don't care about you, don't want you to care about them, then you just have to stop caring about them, which is hard. I know it is, because honestly, deep down in my heart, I still care about this kid. I have a very caring heart. Like I really want to like fix people, and I seriously thought I could have fixed him, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm realizing that you can't fix everybody, even as much as you want. You can't help everybody because not everybody wants help. Yeah, so anyway, that is the time that I fell in love with a fuckboy. That is my story. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and check your subscription box every Monday and Thursday for a new video from me. Bye guys.